And welcome to episode 109 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean Ani, Director of Operations, and I'm joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
Now, we're going to cross all of our body parts that everything goes okay this week.
Yeah, last week I kind of just dropped off. Thank you to Joey for coming in. I was sitting on my computer upstairs, a desktop, didn't work, and we were just trying to set up for the show just now. I was on another Windows 10 machine in my living room, couldn't get audio through, and so I switched to this one on my desk, a third computer, and it still wasn't working, so I switched my mic around, and at least Sean and I can hear each other on a different microphone, but we're recording on the better one, so apologies if you guys hear a little echo.
Well, the way I look at it, obviously you've been a bad boy this year, and this is Santa's early way of bringing you coal.
Fine.
So
yeah,
I think we all know one of the names on the naughty list. Just saying.
Yeah, and I'm a little under the weather too if I sound clogged up. I was joking. This is like I have the CES plague ahead of CES. I'm the one somebody said on Twitter, I'm patient zero.
Exactly. So now, for those that don't know, I am actually not attending CES this year because of the change in my role in the company. It's just not really essential that I'm there. So now that I know you're sick, I'm really glad I'm not going to CES.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be well by then, but I'm kind of joking that like this is the illness that everybody, it's like it's a cold. It's a really bad cold that you get at CES and like bad sore throat and stuff, which is kind of what this is. So.
Or unless you're like me in year 3 when I got the flu.
Right.
And that was awesome. So yes, yeah. I am not attending it from the core staff. I believe it's only Joey and I that are not going to Toy Fair this year or to CES because I am going to Toy Fair in February.
Yes, both of us are. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to be fascinated. I know you went last year, but I'm still going to be fascinated to watch your reactions to various things at Toy Fair.
I went last year, and like honestly, like look, I like toys; they're cool. But like some of it, I was like, like it just felt kind of weird. Where I'm like, oh, show me, your Ninja Turtle toys. And they're like, here, these, and they're for like ages 4 to 6. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I don't have kids. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I have a very different outlook on toys.
Well, yeah, but for people that don't know, you owned a comic book store. You're a collector. I think those, we're in totally different things. And like, I would totally collect those things behind you if I knew about them, But,
right.
Like, when, like I'm looking at like a Ninja Turtle like stuffed animal, like I don't, I'll give it to my dog.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun time at Toy Fair. But no, I'm not going to CES, and part of me, I'm sad in the aspect that that's always the one time a year where the entire crew gets to hang out. It's the one time a year that Todd and I get to see each other. Although I will have, be able to see him in February, and I do fly out to Irvine quite often, so I'll get to see everybody, but I rarely get to see everybody at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. We have our group dinners and stuff like that.
Yeah, I am going to miss the group dinners unless they're the nights where we go buffet. Yeah.
Buffet and go to bed.
Exactly.
But it's a different kind of show. A little. It's weird this year. Like we usually go in and we're like, okay, like TVs, fridges, LG, Samsung, that kind of stuff, right? And then I think. If I'm honest, every year we said it's kind of a different show this year because it has morphed so much. But honestly, this year it's so many like Chinese companies that it's kind of unbelievable. Like in the past, and I think we were trying to touch on this either last week or the week before, but in the past it was like just a bevy of companies around the world. Now it's like these companies that I think are trying to make their big debut in the United States. You have like Xiaomi, Huawei is going to be there with a product announcement, and obviously Huawei's already here. It made its big splash probably with like the Nexus 6P and then its Honor sub brand and Best Buy and stuff like that. But I think these companies are really like, hey, like we're here and we're going big, and we want to show you our products in a bigger sense than in the past where it was like, oh, there's Hisense TVs, It's like, so I think that'll be really interesting. And then there's like even a carrier aspect, which is new. It hasn't happened in maybe 3 years since Ashley Escada was here. T-Mobile has an uncarrier announcement to make. At
Oh,
the
I had
show.
not heard about that.
Yeah, they announced it yesterday, so I don't know what it's going to be. And honestly, the uncarrier announcements have kind of become kind of blah. But I mean, at least in my opinion, and I think in our readers' opinions, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of interest in them. But we'll see. Maybe it'll have a bigger splash.
Yeah, I think it's every year CES seems to be morphing, and I of course part of me is sad that I won't get to see all the new televisions for this year, and part of me is really happy that I won't see all the new televisions for this year because I always end up walking away going, I want a new television.
I need 20 grand. Yeah,
exactly. And of course, I'll be sad if I miss anything like last year's Samsung refrigerator with the built-in cameras inside of it.
Yeah, those little things are kind of neat.
There's always one wacky thing that captures everybody's attention.
Yeah, but in previous years, we've gone saying like, okay, it's going to be, probably a lot of fridges this year. Last year, I think we were starting to talk about smart home, fitness bands, and this year, like Fitbit doesn't have an event. Last year they did, and they announced the Fitbit Blaze. They're like smartwatch kind of thing, their most high-end product. And this year, I'm not even sure we're going to see like that many wearables because the market, in my opinion, wearables are weird right now because it's like, how many different times can you do sleep tracking and steps and GPS and like, so like it's almost like we're waiting for better sensors or an evolution of the software or something like that. So I'm not sure we're going to see a ton of that this year. And I think, we already had news we covered. I forget the name of the company, but they're going to have like the first home kit sensors that I think are like for smart homes. So like window closing, door openings, and a flood detector, which is cool. That HomeKit means it works with Apple Home. So you could be like, on your iPhone, get an alert that your basement's flooding or a window opened or something like that. I wonder if that's going to be a bigger trend. Obviously I think it will be smart homes in general, but I'm curious to see like what the big thing's going to be.
I'm just looking over the questions here, and Brazen Franco says, conference flu is no big deal. Grab it all the time. It just means I'm not playing football for a week. No, Brazen, in my case, it was Sean ended up in the hospital on IV fluids.
Yeah.
And Todd and John Quatch had to come and get me from the hospital.
Yeah, he was in the hospital. It was crazy.
Yeah, it
wheelchair.
It was not. It was not a good time. But yeah, CES is famous for the CES plague. It basically tears through the entire tech industry, and so I'm kind of glad I'll be missing that this year. John typically picks it up a lot.
Yeah, right after.
Yeah, John will get home.
Get sick after Mobile World Congress, and we're not going this year, so I'll probably get sick after CES instead.
Yeah, well, we'll get sick somewhere, but
yeah,
it happens. But so just a little bit of housekeeping. Normally, in the podcast title, we will announce what the topics are, but because of the holidays, there will be no show next week, and the week after that, everybody's at CES except for Joey and myself. So Joey and I could do a show, but we'll actually be trying to produce content for the site. So there's going to be 2 weeks with no TV show. So this is kind of our end of the year wrap up. I already see some questions coming in about, what's the top phone of the year. That will be announced on TechnoBuffalo. We can talk
on 7.
We can talk in generalities, about phones in general.
I can outlay like how we're doing it too if we want to.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? What's the criteria for picking your phone?
Yeah. So this year we thought about doing it a little bit differently. I think because there's a sort of a variety of different types of phones, it made more sense. And because gaming was breaking it down to like games of the year. So it has, I think gaming's doing it starting today, our gaming department, all the way up until, I think January 1st. So they have a lot of games to talk about. We don't have as many phones that we feel are, deserving. But I kicked things off a little bit yesterday with an editorial about the Galaxy Note 7, how it was the phone of the year. Because it was, I think, it was a fantastic device, and obviously it caught fire, caused all sorts of problems. So you can read about that. Today we're going to kick things off with the best smartphone and focusing on a camera, like the best smartphone camera. Obviously, all the phones have gotten really good in that regard, but there's one that we think stands out. Then we're going to go into, I don't know the order, but we're going to go into design. We're going to go into budget. What else are we doing? I think like something that focuses on how unique it is. I have the subjects on a Trello page somewhere as we're going through them, but basically we're breaking it down. And then at the end, and I think we have 6 or 7 devices. We're going to go like, this is the best overall phone. Because there are several devices we want to call out for, they introduce things that we haven't seen before, or that are done better than what we've seen before, and things like that. And again, smartphones, since it's such a lifestyle product and you have iOS and Android, obviously like one isn't the answer for everybody. So we're trying to address that. Yeah, I think you'll like it. We don't leave really any deserving phone in the dust or anything like that.
Cool. No, it'll be exciting. I think though I don't envy the job you guys are doing, because there's a definite sameness to most phones now. So
yeah,
it's going to be a matter of degrees what beats this phone for that reason, or that phone for that reason. So
right, and for that reason, that's almost like, it's weird. You could say they're all the same, and so we're just picking one, which is what we've seen a lot of places do sort of this year. Or you could say, well, they're all the same, but some of them have these standout features, and we do want to highlight that.
Right.
And so we are breaking it out a little bit. Oops, sorry, I hit my mic. Yeah.
No, it'll be interesting to see. I really don't know what I would pick as my smartphone of the year, but Stern Fan asks a great question that we can easily do here, and that's, well, how about this? What is your favorite tech item of the year? So I would say on a personal level, what even if it wasn't released in 2016, what was probably the tech item you used the most this year?
Oh, that's tough. Use the most. I mean, it would be a phone, but I'd say the one that I'm really happy with, like my best buy, is probably the Bose QC35s. And I'm not an audiophile, but having Bluetooth Bose noise canceling has been great for travel.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I've got the QC25s, which are still corded. I'm super happy with them, and I imagine probably next time I need to get a new set of headphones, I'll go wireless with that. I would say for me, it's the Echo. I use
I
use the crud out of my Echo.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or my Philips Hue bulbs. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, when I get home, and I go into my bedroom, to start, getting ready for a shower or whatever, I'm asking her all sorts of questions. What's the exchange rate for the yen today? Because I still have a big interest in Japan. I'll ask her what the exchange rate is for the yen for the day. What's the British pound exchanging at? What's the news today? I have her set my morning alarm. I use her for so much, and playing music. I constantly am playing music through her. So I would say the Echo is hands down my favorite product for several years.
Yeah, I mean, the Echo is awesome, and the Echo Dot. I had like 1330 there, just so you know, for when we're cleaning this up. I nailed the microphone with my coffee, so I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sick and a little out of it with cold medicine. I'm like running into things.
I will say we got a rare complaint email about the podcast last week about sound quality and hating the theme song on the audio version of the show.
I kind of like the theme song.
Here's the thing. When you're doing a show like this, you want to use royalty-free music. I can either A, go for something really boring that everybody's used, or B, I could go for something quirky and unique that I feel kind of fit the tone of the show or where I was going with the show. And I'm sorry, I like my theme song.
Yeah, I like your theme song too.
It's a
back to the Echo song. You know what I've been using a lot more? I got to admit, Google Home. Because the Echo, we talked about this, she doesn't listen to me. It drives me nuts.
I don't have that problem. I know you've mentioned that.
I'm like yelling across the room now. And it's not just that Echo. I have 3 of them. Maybe I should turn them on and off. I don't know.
That's really weird that all of them would be acting up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to speak much louder than I ever did before.
I would say 99 out of 100 times she hears me with no problem.
I know it used to be like that. I mean, I used to be able to speak like turn off the lights, and now I'm like, turn off the lights. I'm sorry. I can't find a group named Turn Off the Lights. I'm like, that's
I did discover, just for quirky fun last night. I said all your base are belong to us to her.
Yeah.
Do that sometime and see how she replies.
Okay. I will.
There's a hidden joke in her for that.
Nice.
Yeah, I love discovering the hidden jokes.
She's got a lot. And you know the cool thing about Google Home that I wrote about this, but I'm not sure like it's out there that much. There's like on Alexa, and you want to install, say like you want to listen to, I don't know, CNBC headlines. You have to open up the Alexa app and like install CNBC headlines. You like activate it. Google Home automatically does that. So new features are always there. And it's more a matter of just figuring out what the heck you can ask it. It's kind of neat. What are you laughing at over there?
Stirred fans' theory here is that your Echo doesn't listen to you because maybe you have a problem with women listening to you. Haha, burn. I haven't had an opportunity to try Home yet. I'm hesitant to buy one just because I'm invested in Echo.
Yeah.
So I go back. I mean, I really want to try Home, but I don't have tons of disposable income, as evidenced by all the toys on the shelves behind me. But mind you, folks, those were bought over years. I don't know. I'm tempted to buy a Home just to try it. Right now, I'm trying to buy Google Wi-Fi and try finding the 3-pack. Good grief.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I want to try it eventually, but I'm like, my Wi-Fi, it works. It's kind of annoying to switch between networks, but
yeah, I need to at some point find those, because right now people on Amazon are, as soon as Amazon sells out, they put them up for $450 for the 3-pack. I'm like, come on, really?
Oh man, yeah, that's ridiculous.
There's scalpers for Wi-Fi routers now. I mean, is that what this world is?
Wi-Fi, man.
They're out on the street. Hey man, hey, I got some Wi-Fi right here, man.
Just take a hit, man.
Come on, Wi-Fi. Yeah. Anyway, so
get your Wi-Fi. Walking up and down.
This was a weird year for technology, though. I think we're going through like this transition period of where technology is trying to figure out where it's going next.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote about how Apple doesn't know where it's going.
Yeah. For everyone that's ever called Todd a unabashed Apple fanboy, just go read his editorial from this morning.
Yeah. I mean, people will probably disagree with me, but I think that it's pretty evident. Like,
no,
I covered. So, all right.
I don't talk about like. I don't disagree with you, for the record, Todd. I agree.
Like Apple, Apple might know where it's going. It just isn't very clear to anybody else,
right?
At least not me. I don't know. I was sitting there last night, right? So I've had. This is kind of like a long story, but I've had some trouble with DirecTV now. Okay, so I'm like playing with it on the Apple TV, and I'm just like leaving it. I'm like, okay, then it fails. Like it fails all the time. Like I can almost just count the minutes or whatever until it stops. So I'm like, this is junk. So I figure, okay, maybe I'm going to go back and see what Apple TV, the new app, is like, because I also bashed that. So I go through it, and I'm like running around, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't support PS View, it doesn't support DirecTV now, it does support Sling TV, and then it's missing all these other cable networks, and I'm just like, okay, it's missing Amazon, it's missing Netflix, and it's supposed to like take all these and put them in one spot, so you don't have to back out and go to HBO or back out and go to Hulu, back out, and it works for those two. But it doesn't work for HBO Go, which makes no sense. It's only HBO Now. Anyway, so I'm like, what the heck is Apple doing? And then I remembered yesterday Bloomberg had a report saying like, oh, it pretty much disbanded its Mac team, like the desktop team or whatever. And so I was thinking, okay, and Tim Cook promises that there are great new desktops coming. Okay, that's fine. But like, you have to wonder if they're coming. Why wasn't there one like last year? Like, it's been 1,000 days. More than 1,000 days since the Mac Pro desktop was updated, and it's been more than 400 since the iMac was updated. And so I'm like, all right, like, what's their strategy here? If they, what's the reasoning? There's great desktop chips out there. There's great desktop graphics processors out there. There's all kinds of stuff. So like, why? And that was just one part of the question. So I'm like, okay, so Apple TV software stinks. Obviously, Apple couldn't get into the market, right, with the streaming TVs. So that's why it's like trying to plug into cable networks. And it's not doing a good job of that. Macs stink. Okay, iPhone 7 is great. It's a great phone, but very boring. It's the third year in a row it's got the same design. So I'm like, what the heck's going on there? Maybe they're waiting for these like new components. They're going to have the curved AMOLED glass displays from Samsung, or actually they're apparently plastic OLED, but I don't know. And then, okay, so like that's boring. So iPhone, what's going on with iPhone? And then I'm like, all right, iPad pretty good, but adding a stylus and a keyboard isn't, flipping the industry on its head by any means. Problems with the car, right? Like they're no longer building like an actual car. They're going to team up with manufacturers, and that might be the plan all along. But you just keep hearing about all these shakeups and like maybe now Apple's going to focus on software and all kinds of stuff. So you're like, what the heck's going on with that? And I've also already argued in editorials, you've got companies like Uber, Volvo, Google, and others testing publicly on roads. We see what's happening, and you get a better idea of like, okay, this is a company I'm going to eventually put my life in their hands because the car is going to drive itself. And I think if Apple's really involved in this space, why is it so secretive? Like, you want to see the successes and perhaps a little bit of the failures. Tesla, also, you hear about the autopilot accidents every now and then. So anyway, so now we've got car, iPhone, TV, Mac, iPad, and then you look at MacBook Pro, and you start to wonder, okay, they added a touch bar to 2 expensive models, but that's not innovative either. I mean, it's like, okay, here's a bar that like some people will use. It's not, like changing the experience as drastically as, say, Apple changing the industry when it launched the iPhone or the iPad. It's also, I mean, Windows, I think, still does a better job with the touchscreens and Windows 10 support, but that's just me, and I like Windows. Then, let's see. So we've covered pretty much all of those. And then you go into wearables, and you're like, okay, the watch is pretty good, but Apple's competition is basically Fitbit. Like, Pebble's dead, Android Wear hasn't been doing anything. It's basically health trackers, and I think that market is still, while I like the Apple Watch a lot, it's still just like, okay, what's going on here? Like, I don't understand it or I don't think anybody really knows, like, like, what's the next step? Where's it going to go? And if it flips the market on its head, like, what is it going to take where people are like, okay, this is what I wanted. This is what I need. Like, is it blood samples out of the watch? Like, no, but I don't know. So anyway,
of all these industries, teeth coming down out of your watch every 30 minutes.
Well, they talked about the one that wanted, there were reports early on that they wanted to add all these features, but then they need FDA approval. So anyway, pretty much every market segment that Apple's in. Oh, we didn't even get into virtual reality and augmented reality, where it's still sitting on the sidelines. Microsoft obviously doing a lot with augmented reality and HoloLens, and then you have, Gear VR, Oculus, HTC Vive, Google Daydream on the virtual reality side. Apple nowhere there. And so Apple CEO Tim Cook said that augmented reality is where they see it, but it's not enough for me for Apple to not have any major change, like huge change or attempts to change or do anything in any of these categories. So I was starting to wonder, like, either Apple is creating huge projects and like changes in every single one of them, or it's not sure which to put its focus on, or it is shifting focus. Like the Bloomberg article said yesterday, it's moving from Mac to iOS and putting its focus there. But anyway, that's my long-winded thought that, it just seemed, it went from, okay, this Apple TV stuff is junk, to the Mac division. And then I was just like, wait a minute, like a lot of its stuff is kind of boggling right now.
Yeah, I've actually been saying that for a while. I just never felt to, sit down and write it out. But you're 100% right on all this stuff, Todd. I don't know what's going on at Apple right now. It doesn't make any sense. It feels very disjointed. They're making... if you're going to come out and make a huge statement like the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack is dated technology and we're taking it out of the iPhone, and then you immediately turn around and include it as the only port other than USB-C in the new MacBook Pros, that's a very disjointed message.
And that's the other thing that I raised in the article. It's like Apple is so quick to say we're the first in some things. It's like, oh, USB-C, and that's all you need, or micro or 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. We're ditching it. You know, they weren't the first in that anyway, and they say it's brave or whatever they said, but then
Courageous.
But then you think about it, and you're like, okay, so they're happy to be the first in those markets, but they're not happy to be the first in the ones that are like actually changing things right now, like virtual reality. I don't know, touchscreen computing a little bit on the iPad, you know, automobiles. Like they're in the markets. I just don't think they're doing like, you don't see the big iPhone, the big iPad play where they're flipping it on its head. And I'm just curious, like, when is that going to happen again, or what is its strategy to do that, or is it just happy enough not doing that? And it's fine. I mean, it's not like Apple's failing by any means. It's just not doing what it used to do. I think it's almost like happy to sit content. And if anything, we've learned over the last several, I don't know, since I've been blogging in 2007, I said in the article, is you can't sit still like this. That's what happened to BlackBerry. It's what happened to Windows Mobile. It's what happened to, you could say, Windows Phone too. It never really took off though. But you know, like anything that sits still, it's what happened to Windows. If it sits still for too long, people are like, all right, I'm done with this. And you know, I think with Windows 10, people are coming back and really liking it, but it's hard to come back.
It is very hard to come back. I mean, it's been well mentioned on this show. I switched from Windows years ago, and every time I have to help my parents with their Windows machines, I'm just like, oh, what? No. Oh, why is this? Why am I here?
Yeah.
It's just, it's not a fun time. But yeah, Apple's definitely going to have to change some things up in 2017 to get back on track, because me and you and many other people are starting to have a lot of questions about where that company's headed. I don't know what they're going to do, but we've got a ton of questions coming in here, so we'll jump into those now. And from Corey Frost, with the failure of the Note and Samsung's attempt to push a phone's limits, are you guys concerned with the rumors that Apple and Samsung are really pushing 2017 releases to have many new features? I think the problem with the Note 7 was the battery, as has been documented. Although, has Samsung ever officially said that's what it was, the battery contacts?
I don't know if it was official. I mean, I know it's officially the battery. I'm not sure if we got to that part yet.
But I don't think it's so much about the features. I think they have to pay attention to every millimeter of the design. And I think Apple, you know, for every bit of the bashing we just did, I do think Apple does pay a lot more attention to that sort of stuff. So I'm not as concerned there. Samsung, on the other hand, also had exploding washing machines.
That's true.
You know, Samsung's got a lot of problems right now, and it's not just their phones. So Samsung, I'm nervous about this year. Apple, not so much. I don't think we're going to see exploding iPhone, whatever the number is this year.
Yeah, I don't think Samsung will let it happen again. I mean, you know, you'd think that they would learn from that, but who knows? It's just that I don't know. It's like, I feel like we're almost too quick to be like, oh, they're pushing the boundaries and that's why it exploded. Like, even I've said that. But on the other hand, we're always pushing the boundaries every single year, every single smartphone launch, every single month, you know, like everything is always doing that. And so part of it, I think, was that it might have been rushed or whatever to beat the iPhone. And maybe that's where mistakes were made or quality assurance wasn't up to snuff. But, you know, recent rumors suggest Samsung's going to wait till April this year. So hopefully it gets everything worked out.
Yeah, I that's what I'm hoping. I certainly do not want to see Samsung in this predicament. That's for sure. But, you know, we'll see how they're able to dig themselves out of it. Who knows? Let's see here. We have a lot of comments from Stern Fan, but figure out which ones are questions and which ones are comments is the problem here. From Raisin Franco, what do you think of the conflicting report between Bloomberg saying that Apple's Mac division is in shambles and Tim Cook saying that they are still focused on the Mac and that the new Mac Pro is coming? What do you expect Tim Cook to say?
Yeah, I think he was trying to get out ahead of that news. I'm not sure which one hit first, but he definitely addressed it. But simply, again, that doesn't answer my question of like why 3 years? Like, why didn't you update it for 3 years? And consumers deserve more than that. You can't charge the same price you did 3 years ago for your Mac Pro and the iMac. I mean, same idea. And you're letting Microsoft eat the lunch there. I mean, with the studio and stuff like that. I don't think people are going to just leave Apple in droves. Obviously, switching operating systems is kind of a pain in the butt. And people prefer others for other reasons. But on the other hand, you can't just like leave your most dedicated fans without what they're looking for, or wanting to buy or willing to buy. But from a business perspective, I think in general computer sales are down. So Apple's probably like, well, it might not be selling a ton of these things. So it's like, maybe we'll put it off for a bit. But I think it should address it more or bring it up more instead of just leaving consumers waiting and wondering. I think that's more dangerous probably.
From Stern Fan, John wrote me saying the site was up for a big redesign. Are you guys keeping discuss? I will confirm that the site is being redesigned. I've actually already had one I'm the project manager on it. So I've already had one meeting this morning seeing, what today's updates are. We're probably, I don't even really want to give you a time frame. We're not too far from it launching. However, I'm hesitant to comment on any of the features because you never know what will happen once we get to the QA and bug reporting phase. So just stay tuned. But yes, there is a massive redesign coming to the site. I can't wait for it to be live. I mean, I've been living with this thing since last summer. And I think it's gorgeous. I think it's.
I know what you did last summer.
I'm sorry, what, Todd?
I know what you did last summer.
Yes, exactly. I was starting the redesign of TechnoBuffalo. So it's a very exciting redesign. It is unlike anything you have seen on TechnoBuffalo before. It's a completely new layout. But as for specific features, I'm not going to comment on those yet, simply because you never know what's actually going to work despite your best intentions. So just stay tuned. The new site is coming very, very soon. Also from Stern Fan, been saying for a year now, companies are hurting themselves with a new release once a year or multiple times a year. It should be every 2 years. It should keep things fresh and make people want more. I think we're going to have to see the companies change to longer than a year refresh. The year refresh is killing them. I think it's also killing consumer interest.
Yeah, you wonder, but chip design and development seems to be going faster than that.
But does that, just because a chip is out there, does that mean you have to release a phone with it? Or maybe go, okay, so like the Call of Duty,
philosophy of technology.
Call of Duty I stopped playing it years ago, but they have different design houses working on each year. So what if they did this? What if like the S series was in the even years and the Note series was in the odd years?
Oh yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. So then that way they have a major phone each year and they can keep up with the technology. It's just a matter of which one you prefer.
Yeah. I guess they'd have to do like study, like how many sales would they miss out on, or would one start to just attract everybody? I don't know.
It's
tough.
That's off the top
I think they probably study this stuff. You'd hope.
You would hope, but you never know with these companies. You really don't. Let's see. We also have a comment here that from Stern Fan. I think they said if the Note 7 was 3 millimeters thicker, there would not have been an issue. Quite possible.
Makes sense.
I mean, from what we understand, it was all down to those battery contacts, and they just did not have enough room. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. Let's see here from Stern Fan. Also, have you guys heard of the speaker issue with the Pixel phones with the keyboard app? I don't have any of the issues, but I'm reading a lot of others are.
I've seen them. I haven't had the issues myself.
Yeah, You never know. It could have been one day's bad batch. You
Yeah.
never know. From Brazen Franco, are holograms this year a focus for CES, or will Sony just come with a 100-inch 16K TV? Knowing Sony, they'll come with a 100-inch 16K TV. A couple of years ago, they had 8K TV there. When 4K was just finally taking off, I was like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful, but I think we've got enough Ks.
Yeah.
I just don't know where else they can go. Let's see here from Stern Fan. Yeah, phones right now are stale. I gotta agree. Picking the best of each category has got to be difficult. Yeah, I do not envy Todd and his crew, their position at the moment. It's not going to be a fun one. From Corey Frost, I love the theme song. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate the theme song. And Stern Fan asks, since he only watches on YouTube, what this theme song is. It only plays on the audio version of the show. So if you download it from iTunes, Pocket Cast, RSS feed, or my spiel at the end of every episode.
You can listen to us
anytime, anywhere.
Anytime.
You know, folks, Stitcher does not pay me to say that. I don't know why. They really. I don't think I've ever even talked to anyone from Stitcher.
Hey, Sean, here's your check.
Oh well, shh. That's how I'm going to afford the Google Home. But
yeah.
Oh, good grief. But yeah, I mean, 2016 has been a weird year, period. But for technology in particular, it's been very difficult. From Corey Frost, have either of you tried DirecTV Now? I feel like this could be the answer for being a cord cutter. Oh, I'm just going to sit back.
Don't do it. It's terrible. I don't know why I say that. I do know why I say that. Look, like, you have an expectation when you're cutting the cord, and it's sort of like, okay, you know, I'm going to watch TV with one of these services, whether it's DirecTV Now, Sling TV, or PS View, and it's going to work because I pay for it. And AT&T's look, it's not a good start. I'll give you, you know, I've tuned in. I bought it for 3 months for the Apple TV, free Apple TV with it, and every time I go to watch it in my living room, literally I've changed Wi-Fi networks, restart the TV, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll get like 3 minutes of time before it says like this content could not be loaded, or it crashes, or just something. And there's like bad design decisions where you go like, oh, I'm gonna go through the HBO shows, and you go through the HBO shows, and it's like on the mobile app, and it'll have like one episode listed twice in the list. And like, I'm just like, what the heck? Did anybody go through this? And I get like it's new, but it's AT&T and it's DirecTV. And then like you have Sling TV, PS View doing it really well, and I haven't had, and I bought both of those both when they were new, and I did not have issues. I know you had issues with Sling TV.
I had issues with Sling TV, and that's what I was going to bring up. I had issues with Sling TV in the very early days, but I no longer have those issues.
Yeah, so I mean, DirecTV will obviously, I mean, it should fix them, but you know, this isn't a beta. It's a full-on product, and it's made by a massive company. Like, was it not tested? Why isn't it working? You know, and why isn't it on Roku and all these other things where PS View and Sling TV are? So, and they chose HBO. This also bothers me. I don't know why, but HBO Go is inferior to HBO Now, the app. When you sign up for HBO on PS View, you get HBO Now. When you sign up for it on DirecTV, now you get HBO Go. If that makes any sense. But it's just an example of how confusing this whole industry is.
I still don't understand why HBO has two separate services.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the other one.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So I wrote about this in the Apple TV story. If you go into Apple TV software and try to link up with your HBO account, you can only link it to HBO Now, not HBO Go. So even though if you got a free Apple TV with DirecTV Now and you want to link it into HBO so that your Apple TV on the Apple TV, the software on the box works, you have to have the other HBO.
Okay, so
this makes any. So I feel like I know I sound like I'm talking gibberish, but I'm not. That's how stupid it is.
2 trains are heading to Philadelphia from the north and the south, traveling at 35 miles per hour.
I've tried to explain, like, what the heck is going on? What are you guys doing? And I feel like they're all like sitting around. I don't know.
It makes no sense.
I think they're doing.
It makes no sense. But Corey Frost also brings up here, will we see items like the Roku and Apple TV update to support these new streaming services? I think without a question. I'm shocked when only one has it at launch. It doesn't make any sense to me because the Roku actually has a larger install base than Apple TV does.
Yeah, I wonder if, maybe, I don't know. I would say there's a partnership, but clearly there's not because it's not a single sign-on option. But yeah, it's coming to Roku. AT&T's already confirmed that. And then what is it, like? Casting only works on Android now, or only on? I think it's only on Android. And it's coming to iPhone later. Like, it's just like, what the heck? How hard is that to add? It can't. I mean, you're AT&T.
Yeah.
You could probably hire a high school kid to add that in tomorrow.
Stern fans making a comment about me upgrading the 99 Tahoe. Not happening. Not happening. For those that don't know, I drive a 99 Tahoe, and it seems to bother everyone that I drive a 99. I'm sorry. It's my favorite car I've ever owned. But it's an awesome car, even when it gets broken into. But Nope. The 99 Tahoe. Actually in cars, they consider a car that's 20 years old to be a classic. So I'm just waiting until 2019 so I can call my Tahoe classic. Well, folks, we're going to be wrapping up the show here. It's just about that time. And as I said, we will not be here for the next 2 weeks. So I hope you all have a happy and safe holiday season, whatever holiday you are celebrating this year. Until next time, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show on the iTunes Store, where you can rate and review us, which we greatly appreciate. You can also find us on Pocket Cast, the Google Play Store. You can subscribe via RSS feed, or you can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere.
There you go.
I'm waiting on that chat. I'm Sean Ani. I'm the executive. No, I'm not the executive director. I'm the director of operations. I don't know who I am anymore, Todd.
It's okay.
And I've been joined by Todd Hazelton, the executive editor.
Bye, everybody.
Till next time, take it easy, everyone, and have a safe and happy holiday season. Bye-bye.